Hello, my name is Alex, and I am your host of the How Bizarre podcast, and this is episode 5 of the series. Hopefully you'll like it, and it will take some traction in the time to come. So, what is this podcast about? It's about storytelling, and especially about stories that are obscure, unknown to the wider public, strange and sometimes inexplicable, content that somehow never got the attention it deserved. Stories that are forgotten in the mists of time, regardless if they happened yesterday or some centuries ago. So if you are attracted to bizarre, shocking, or just plainly weird stuff, I think you'll find this podcast very informative and perhaps even entertaining. This podcast is for mature audiences, and listener discretion is advised. All that being said, now let us dive into the 5th episode of How Bizarre podcast. This episode is named Two Brothers in the Back of My Mind. It is a result of soul searching on my part, something that happens every once in a while. This time we go to a place I reluctantly call home, a country of corruption, ignorance, and crime. Although speckled with several hidden gems of unbelievable beauty, this country is barely livable. For a country to lose 1/6 of its population from the last census to the new one, without any major events such as war, is staggering. Apparently no one wants to live here, but that's a subject for another time. Perhaps for another podcast completely. Back on topic. Needless to say, I did not remember their names, even though they were in the other class and were good people. Two brothers, two gypsies. Yes. They had everything that stung our eyes. Rags, stench, lice, darker skin, severe poverty. In a word, it is difficult to describe further the state they were in, because I cannot go there, to the innermost darkest underground of my memories. The state of their misery was a third world one. People here are still in denial when it comes to the fact that Romani people are treated with disturbing levels of racism. The two brothers hanged around the school canteen for hours after classes had finished, and went to collect leftovers from the canteen. For us, as idiots we were then, such a procedure seemed so lame, and their begging for the leftovers from the canteen was almost a daily occurrence. They had siblings at home, hungry siblings at that, so yes, they collected it for home, so that a few more of their siblings could eat something. I know now. But then, we met them outside and we did what we did to them. The bread ended up on the ground, from where they took it again. The slaps, the kicks and insults were standard drill. They served as a punching bag, on which we poured frustrations from home, from school, from the football pitch, from our brain that was empty, even though soaked in testosterone. That was not working for us as it should, but we worked for our basic instincts, like cattle or rats. Sadistic outbursts and severe beatings on the weaker than us were commonplace. We were almost a representative product of the educational and social system of the day. And everything was easy in our minds, and we were glad in our souls. None of this can be compared to the shock. Shock indeed. Why did they not resist? Why did they not fight? Why they did not break the head of any of us at night, behind a wall with a metal bar? Why they did not call their numerous brothers, cousins, friends, those two gypsy brothers, I still cannot understand, even though I know that they could barely stand on their feet, and they probably had some philosophy of their own life. Oh well, to be honest, that's probably bullshit. They did not have a philosophy, only stumbling towards mere survival. But I just had to develop the thought in some direction. And one more thing I know. Never mind Mahatma Gandhi and everything I have read since then. Through them two came to light what we were. Bastards, and them two just wanted us to leave them alone. And the tears in their eyes, and the words, mixed gypsy and Macedonian, with which they did ask us to leave, are etched in my hard drive and remained there for all these years. Although this particular subject it will always be avoided when evoking memories of the supposedly happy school days at reunions. I mean, who would like for his dinner to be soured by rancid memories? No, unfortunately the brothers were not the only ones who were given that treatment. Although in another way, there were many others like them. Ones who received regular follow-up on their misery and despair, for other reasons of course. The corresponding file downloaded by the system in our skulls was activated on various things, but with a similar result. How dare they live in abject poverty? Some could say we were children. We didn't know any better, and we didn't. We thought that poor kids are somehow to blame for their predicament. Well, thank you parents, friends, relatives, neighbors, teachers and preachers, for not installing basics of empathy and common decency in us. Thank you for bringing us up like that. Our greatest pleasure was and still is to see someone in the mud, to console ourselves that we are not the most fucked up shit in the world, that there is someone under us that we can tread on. You did the same, as well your parents, grandparents and ancestors from time immemorial, so why bother? Thanks for nothing. This is for you dear brothers. I know you do not live in a virtual world like me. Not sure if you have internet connection, and the chance is, you will never hear these words. I am sorry to the deepness of my soul. I am sorry. I apologize to you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that someday you will have everything I do not have, and that one day you will look at me with the same contempt as I and the others saw you then. Bon chance, wherever you are. I hope you all liked episode 5 of this podcast. Thank you so kindly for listening, and I will be back next time for episode 6 of the How Bizarre podcast. I would like to take this chance to express my gratitude to Miss Elena Rostovska, and I dedicate this episode to her, my friend of better part of a decade. Thank you, Elena. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, share, and above all, subscribe to this channel, dear listener. Because, why not? Join me next time for another bizarre adventure through space and time. Cheerio.